Welcome back to Running on Pixie Dust. This is a podcast YouTube series, and I'm your host, Annika. We are having a little bit of sound malfunctions, so just trying to keep an eye on our levels here, because obviously this is a very high-budget podcast YouTube series. If you're watching on YouTube, then welcome back. If you haven't already, go ahead and check out last week's first intro episode 0 of Running on Pixie Dust. I really wanted to start this kind of podcast YouTube series because I'm running dopey in 2023. And if you don't know what that means when I say I'm running dopey, go ahead and listen to that first episode and I explain all about it. But I really want to hold myself accountable while I'm training and also inspire others who may be going through the same thing or maybe wish they had something like this if they were wanting to train for dopey, anything like that. So that's kind of where we're at with that. But with that, welcome to week 1. So this is actually being posted after week 1. So post week 1 of Jeff Galloway's training schedule for the Run Disney Dopey Challenge 2023. So this is actually being posted on Monday, July 4th. Happy 4th of July, although not so happy with SCOTUS right now. But on a more positive note, we have a special guest with us.
Hello.
Welcome, Allison. And this is kind of crazy because we've known each other for, I don't even know, like 15 years or something crazy.
At this point, it's like, may as well just say we've known each other our whole lives. Like,
right?
We don't know the math anymore.
Like, I don't even know, honestly.
No, I don't know either.
We met way back when we were competing in pageants. So I think at that time, we both had been competing in pageants, like, separately and not knowing each other in life a couple of years. And then I think my dog is zooming back here. Oh my gosh.
She wants to be on the podcast also.
Of course. I know. She hears us talking like really lively, and so she gets kind of like amped up.
She's like, I'm ready to be part of this.
She literally is. But yeah, so we competed together in pageants way back when. I think we were actually here in Orlando when neither one of us had lived here yet at this point in our lives. But as a part of these pageants, there were national competitions, and that nationals happened to be held here in Orlando and basically at Disney World or Disneyland for different types of pageants. So we were at Disney World for this particular one, and I think we had just connected like backstage or whatever, and I honestly can't remember like how we actually like got to talking. I honestly bet it was our moms.
I was just going to say, it probably was our moms more than anything because they're the chit-chatters. They make us look quiet.
They are chit-chatters.
Oh, yeah.
And they are very opinionated, and they're just so funny. Yeah, so like we ended up going to Disney World together, and I think we went to Universal together too.
Yes, I remember that. We ate at Mythos.
Yeah, we just kind of like started spending time together, and then I think we kept competing in pageants. And so I think like year after year, we kept kind of meeting up. But at this point, where were you living?
California.
You were living in California. I was also living in California, but I think you were in Southern California.
Southern California.
Yes. Yeah. You were in Southern California while I was in Northern.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like we could actually connect outside of competing in pageants, really.
Well, I remember the one time I had like an ice skating competition in San Jose, and you guys came and watched me. Do you remember that?
Was it the Frozen one?
Yeah.
Oh my god! Oh my gosh.
And then we toured Chapman together. Do you remember that too? That's like back, and then we both toured.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, do you remember that?
That's insane.
Yeah. So it's like full circle how you actually ended up going to Chapman, and we toured together.
Literally.
Yeah, but you were a year ahead of me, so like I wasn't even thinking of college at the time. Like I remember you show up all prepared with like this folder of questions, and I'm just like,
that was my mom for you.
Yeah, but I'm just like, I'm just here for moral support because I'm not ready for college.
Oh my god, that is so funny to think about.
I know.
No sin. Go. No.
And then you can't forget the creation of the mops.
Oh my god. We came up with this team name of most amazing pageant sisters. Mops.
And it was on a shirt.
We got airbrush t-shirts and everything.
Yeah,
so,
the mops.
Oh my god. Okay, so then fast forward.
Like many years later.
Many years later. You guys moved to Orlando and had a house here and lived here and all that. And then fast forward to me, I was coming for the Disney College program, moving to Orlando. My family like lived in Oregon now at this point. And I think at first the plan wasn't to live with you guys.
Yeah.
And then things changed and I came back for my professional internship and you guys were like, we got a room. And I was like, well, I got me. So, and that's just how it worked out. And then we became roommates. And then you had already been running for a while at this point.
Yes.
And basically convinced me to get started running. And then now here we are.
Yeah.
It's 2022.
Yeah.
I've done at least 6 half marathons.
Wow. That many already?
I don't know. I had 4 or 5 in 2019 alone.
Yeah, because I remember it was January when you moved in, and then Princess registration back in the day.
Yeah.
It wasn't sold out, so you could just sign up. I think you literally signed up 3 or 4 weeks before Princess.
Oh yeah,
I remember.
Yeah. I deep dive into that in the intro episode from last week, and it's just so funny how that works out, and then now looking back on it, but. Yeah, so you became kind of my unofficial running coach.
Pretty much, yeah.
Because
I'd be like, let's go, run.
Because that's just how you were. You're very athletic. You were a real runner. You were an ice skater, and you're very determined, very disciplined. And I always just was very envious of that about you. And this girl would wake up 3 a.m. to train willingly, not just for races.
Yeah.
It was 3 a.m. She's up and on the street. Before I even wake up, she's gotten 9 miles in.
Pretty much. This past Monday, I had a flight that left at, I don't even know what time my flight left at, 7:40. I think I ran at 4 a.m. That's just normal. And I'm going to Atlanta on Saturday. My flight leaves at 7 a.m. I plan on running before, so I'll be running at
You're a morning person.
I am.
But you're definitely that's easy for you. You're okay, yeah, I'm going to bed at 6 p.m.
No, I remember during Dopey this year, there was one night I was at Cheesecake Factory. It was 4:30, and I was falling asleep at the table.
Right, because that's your bedtime.
Yeah, it's my bedtime. Don't get me wrong, though. As much as I love going to bed early, sometimes the early morning wake-ups are,
yeah, repetitive. It's a lot on your body.
Sometimes I'm especially when you're deep in a dream and then your alarm just goes off in the middle of the night, you're this is what I choose to do for fun. But then you get out there and it all is worth it.
Yeah, and especially when society is not meant for morning people per se. The schedules of people. If you're trying to make plans with people, sometimes they can only hang out at night or completely off of what your personal schedule is. So that can also make it more challenging. But
and then work-life balance.
Work-life balance.
Corporate girlies.
Oh my gosh.
It's
9
tough.
to 5.
Yeah, it's tough. I start work at 7:30. I don't know what time you start, but.
Yeah, well, I just always say a blanket 9 to 5.
Okay.
Quote unquote. Because I don't know, that makes a difference when you think about someone's work schedule opposed to park schedules where it's you could start at 7 p.m. and get off at 4 a.m.
Right. All hours, yeah.
So we have very consistent schedules, I'd say, compared to something like that.
Yeah. But the 7:30 work start time can be pretty, it can be pretty rough.
That's very early, yeah.
It's early because I need to be done with my run by then. I mean, I'm still remote, so it's not I need to be showered by then. I'll literally log on, work for 2-3 hours. The next thing I know, it's 10:30, 11. I'm still in my running clothes. That's disgusting. But luckily, it's just me in my pajamas. So.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That is so early. Being done with your run by then because
being done by 7:30.
In Florida, you have to run early because of the humidity and the heat. We're in summer now. Yeah. I was just talking about this, how last week I was saying I have to become a morning person now.
You do. You have no option.
You have to.
You have to. I mean, unless you just want to suffer in the middle of the day, and I know people that do it, but they're few and far in between, and they're just choosing to willingly suffer. And it's actually suffering. I've done it because in the early months of this year, when I was quote unquote pre-training for Dopey, you're building your base.
You're building your base and all of that. I love being able to run at 2 p.m. Let's say I'd take a quick break from work, go on my quick 30-minute run, and it was great, fantastic, because that's when I personally had the most energy. And like was willing to go do that.
Right. And it gets like a nice break. It's like something to look forward to during the workday. Or like, I have my run coming up. Let's go. Come on, you know?
Yeah, no, a very nice break. And it was great. And then now with the heat that you cannot escape, it's like you have to be out like latest by 6 a.m. because at that point it's already 80 degrees and like 90% humidity. So you're going to be heavily breathing. But,
oh, yeah. You're just like, you step out the door and you're running at an easy pace. And you're like, this isn't that hard. But then like 2 minutes later, you're covered in sweat.
It is that hard.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, that too. But
like,
it's like you're covered in sweat automatically. Yeah.
The running itself is a workout. But then now you're adding like running in a sauna.
Literally. You may as well just like go put on a sauna suit. It probably would feel the same.
Like, oh my gosh, yeah. Like now I can't run without water. Whereas before, I would never take water with me. And if I was running less than like 3 or 4 miles. Yeah. Because I just like wouldn't need it.
Yeah, no, when it's like colder for Florida standards, when it's colder. Anything under like 4 or 5 miles, if it's just an easy run, I'm not doing a speed workout, fine without water. Now I go out the door for 3 miles, I'm taking water with me.
I have like a little waist belt that has 2 little bottles with it. One is full of like ice cold water that I leave in the freezer overnight.
That's smart.
And one is filled with Powerade. I get the sugar-free Powerade because regular Powerade is just too sweet.
It's too much sugar.
Then it's a lot of sugar. So it's like when you're training, you kind of want to be a little conscious of like what you're putting and fueling your body with. Not to say that you can't have sugar, because I definitely still do. But when I'm running, especially like out on my training run, like I don't want to have sugary things.
Yeah, no, I've noticed too, because like I go back and forth with like the type of fueling, and like I don't train with Powerade, but like I'll take it on course at a Disney race, and sometimes I'm like, oh my god, this is just like so much sweetness in my mouth at one time, which I love, don't get me wrong, but when I'm running, it like kind of, it can go down the wrong way.
I like it watered down, too.
Yes, like, because sometimes like Run Disney will have it watered down. Yeah. And that's how I want it. So when I get the ones that aren't watered down, I'm like, this tastes great, but my stomach is not going to appreciate this. Right?
No, yeah, and it's good too to also train with like Powerade, for example, or something similar, because that's also what you're going to have on race day if you're doing the Run Disney races.
Yes.
So you want to like, something that I've learned that didn't really click for me, but it's so obvious. Like, you want to train with what you're going to fuel with on actual race day.
Yes.
Like, that is very good for your digestive system, because you don't want to be introducing new things and have some kind of reaction that you don't want on race day. So, I mean, that's so simple and obvious, but something that I was like, oh, yeah, I should really think about that. Like, I should get the same kind of snacks that they might be handing out, or like be sipping on Powerade on my longer runs, because that's what they're going to have on the course. So, yeah, something to keep in mind about that. But
yeah, no, you definitely, and I have made that mistake way too many times, and I'm sure I'll continue to make it in the future. Sometimes I'll never learn, but especially with goo, if you are someone that uses goo and your stomach can handle it, because I'm one of those rare people, and like I have a pretty sensitive stomach, but I can handle goo, which is weird to me, because I know a lot of people can't, but somehow my really messed up stomach can handle goo. But like,
which you like taught me what goo was, because again, like I was a new person to this runner world, and like if like I just want to go into a time machine and go to the day where Allison signed up for, I think it was your first Dopey challenge in like what, for 2020 maybe?
No, 2017 was
No, you're okay, so you had already done with that point.
Yeah.
But I think maybe we were looking back on registration or something about Dopey challenge came up, and I was like, why on earth would anyone do that? Like, that's insane. I'm never going to do that. You will never catch me running a marathon. You will never catch me doing Dopey.
It was probably 2020, because the registration for that was probably like April 2019. That's when you were living with me. That's when you were roommates at the time.
Okay.
That's when you had just done Princess and Star Wars. Yes. And I was like, come on, next step is Dopey. You've done a half. You can totally do a full.
LOL. Absolutely not.
Times have changed.
And look at us now.
And I'm not even doing Dopey this year. That's what's so funny.
I know.
I'm only doing the full. Big shocker there. No one believed me. They're like, yeah, okay, because I've done Dopey. Oh gosh,
right.
Three times. I've done it 3 times. This year was my 3rd time. But I think after the trauma of this year, I was like, I need a year where I'm only doing the marathon, just so I can focus on it and like crush it out of the park. Because this year, I fell at mile 12.
Right. Okay, so we're gonna get into that.
Oh yeah.
That's coming up. But yes, I did want to go through a few things, and then we'll dive into some questions I have for you.
Okay.
And that is one of the questions I have for you. So
I'm just jumping ahead.
We will dive right into that. But Yeah, so we talked a little bit about upcoming races, and before Dopey, though, we have Wine and Dine.
We do. We have Wine and Dine. Do you have any other races besides Wine and Dine, or?
So for me, I only have the Run Disney races coming up. Okay. So that means Wine and Dine weekend, which is in November. Yeah.
Come on.
We'll see about that.
Do you know how many races we have in our backyard? You could literally just do a race any weekend on any given time in Orlando. We're lucky to have that at our fingertips. You gotta take advantage of that.
I mean, yes, but like, if I'm gonna pay for a race, might as well be at Disney. That was my mantra that I've been going by.
I know, but you're gonna be paying a fraction of the cost.
I know. See. So maybe we'll see if it like lines up with like my schedule or whatever.
Yeah. But I mean, once you get to like October, it's safe to assume that you're at least running like a half almost every weekend. You can just easily jump into a half at any time. And
pretty much.
Use that as a training run and then add on some miles before and after. And like that's a great way to break up training. Because if you're just doing these long runs, time and time and week again alone, having a half in there just to break it up, being like, okay, in 3 weeks I get to do my long run with other people. Something that
switches it up.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. No, I definitely am going to like look into having running buddies and like we all kind of switch up on maybe every other weekend or whatever, running in different places.
Yes.
So that's definitely
Change
helpful.
of scenery. I'm that person that prefers to run alone, but sometimes I just want the race environment, even if I'm just using the race environment for a training run, which is something.
But you're also like a racer. Like she wins her age divisions and like she's won like entire races and like she's very serious and very fast, very strong and very powerful.
I take it to the wrong level. I'm working on that happy medium,
So it's fair that you want to run alone because like no one can keep up with you.
It's either I run with someone that's like too fast or I run with people at differing paces, and then it's like for easy runs though, that's a great thing about running though. I feel like because for easy runs, it really doesn't matter what pace you're at. That's a big thing. I feel like people focus too much on their pace during easy runs, and for easy runs, just go out, have a good time, find a group to run with. That's something I do actually want to do more. Maybe we will get together for some runs.
I was gonna say like maybe for like a one of the Galloway like 45-minute runs.
Yeah, for sure.
Like
that would be good for me
for
too.
you, that would be like a nice power walk, and for me, that would be like a literal training run. So but okay, so we've got Wine Dine.
Yes.
And then I have the Dopey Challenge, and you have the marathon.
I have just the marathon, and
then only 26 miles.
Only 26.2. Come on, those are. Let's be real. Those last point
important. They're important.
That's the real race right there.
Right.
And then you're doing the challenge at Wine and Dine, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so I'm doing the challenge too, which I'm perfect for.
Yeah. So explain what being perfect is.
Yes. Okay. So perfect is that you run every single Run Disney race every year since the start of it. So for the Wine and Dine Challenge, 2016 was the first year that they brought it as a morning race. Excuse me, not a night race. It used to be a night race.
Okay.
And they decided in 2016 we're gonna make it a regular, like the Run Disney race morning race. And a lot of people were upset about that because I had never done the night race, but I had heard really good things about it. You would run through the Osborne Festival of Lights at Hollywood Studios because you run at nighttime. So then they switched it to a morning race, and they introduced the challenge. They brought the 10K in, and then it became a challenge with the 10K and a half. So that was the first year, 2016. So I've done it every year since then. Not the virtual COVID year because they said that I didn't have to do it that year to maintain my perfect status. But I know a lot of people did just to be safe. Yeah. But they wrote to us an email. They're like, you do not have to do the virtual race to maintain your perfect status.
No, being perfect, it's serious. It's like a badge of honor. You get a whole separate bib.
Yeah,
so
it says
everyone
perfect
knows.
On the bib. Yep, and then you get a different lanyard for your medal. Yeah, and
my gosh.
And it's crazy to think like this past year because that's when I hit my 5 years for Wine and Dine. That's when they started acknowledging it, and I was like, oh my gosh, like this is a big deal. Like I remember, like I'm just like in my brain, like okay, 2016 Allison. It was like barely running at the time. Wasn't focused on the things I'm focused on now. Just here to enjoy myself, and it's like look how far I've come. So it's like a silly little thing, a bib saying perfect and a little lanyard. It means so much, Yeah. Little things like that, they really do mean a lot in the runner's world. And a lot of runners are hoarders. I will call myself a hoarder. Like, I keep all these little things.
Yeah. Like, running is, for people who call themselves runners, and I guess I call myself a runner
You're
now.
A runner. No,
which,
100% you're a runner.
When we lived together, I was like, I'm not a runner. I'm not a real runner.
No, and anyone's a runner. And, like, I feel like that's such a common misconception. People think, I'm not a real runner, and that's not true. Everyone's a runner. Anyone who steps out the door and goes for a run is a runner. Yeah. And that's what's so great about the running world is that no matter your time, no matter your pace, no matter how many races you've done, no matter if you're going out for 1 mile or 26 miles, you're a runner and you're part of this community now. And that's what I love about running.
Right. And, like, my biggest thing, too, is people kind of can get disappointed with themselves if they don't run a pace that they really wanted to. But it's like, hang on, you still got the same mileage as someone else who ran it in maybe half the time or whatever. So you're still going the distance, which is something really important to keep in mind.
I mean, you're getting your money's worth. If you're taking more time out there, you are getting your money's worth. At the end of the day, you're the real winner.
There you go. Preach.
It's true. I mean, if you're paying all this money, especially in Run Disney races.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
The more time you spend out there, you are getting your value worth. And I work in finance, and I work with money and numbers.
Get your value
out of that race by taking your time out there. Stop for the characters. Stop for the photos. Soak it in. I mean, I did a half marathon with a friend. Gosh, was it last year? It was her first half marathon, and she literally was like, "We're gonna have a sit." We just sat on the ground for 20 minutes. I mean, I don't recommend that because I felt bad for her getting up. She was like, it was like getting up off the ground.
I cannot imagine doing that.
Oh my God. So we sat on the ground. It was like a out and back. There was like the turnaround point, and we sat on the ground and we figured out our Dutch Brothers order. So this was in Utah.
There you go.
Yeah. So we figured out our Dutch Brothers order. Important things. But at Disney races, there's time limits, so you need to be aware of that too. But definitely take your time, enjoy yourself. Yeah.
Well, okay, so then what's your next upcoming race that you have?
Yes, okay, so I used to be the queen of races all the time.
Literally every weekend.
Still am. But I've definitely cut back a lot since my injury in January. I mean, my first year running, I think I did, I should be good at this, but I think I did like 68 races in 1 year.
Yeah.
68.
You were out every weekend.
Literally every weekend, every Saturday and Sunday.
You were always posting, look, my new first place medal this
pretty much
today.
Yeah. And so since then, I could go on and on, but to make it short, I've definitely cut back, and now I'm focusing on less races, more training to get back to the paces that I had years ago that I want to be back to. So my next race is Revel Big Cottonwood, and that is September 10th.
And where is that?
That's in Salt Lake City, Utah.
Okay.
So it's a downhill race. So you run down the mountain, which is similar to the race I just did a few weeks ago. Very similar.
My knees just kind of did a little seize at the mention of the downhill race.
And see my calves do a little. I mean, it's only been a few weeks, and I feel like I'm still recovering from that half. Like, my calves, for literally a week, I was walking, and my calves were like, oh.
Yeah.
Gosh. Yeah, but the downhill running is something that I'm still newer to. I did my first downhill half last year, and it's incredible though. I highly recommend it for everyone to give it a try. Yes, and
you want to see some real speed.
Just go. But I mean, the funny thing that I experienced this last time at the last half I did, it was called Drop 13. My left foot felt like it was curving inward the entire time, and it felt like my ankle was it was such a weird feeling that I literally felt like I had to slow down to make my foot not feel like it was twisting inward. I don't even know how to describe it, and then I almost fell on my face.
Oh,
so it's harder than it sounds. I mean, it definitely helps.
No, it does sound hard. It's more painful almost. Yeah. Okay, well, it's not as painful as going uphill, but
I hate hills. And then what makes it hard too is once you come out of the canyon, what they call it, where you're running in, and then you go to the flat road, you feel like you're running up a hill because you've been going downhill this entire time.
You've had that extra momentum.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
but
for
sure. So that's my next race, and then after that, I think it's just wine and dine, and then I have the OUC half marathon, and then I have the Mount Dora half marathon, which I'm an ambassador for, and then just the full.
That's the full.
That's my end of year race schedule.
2022.
Yes, which is very, very, very minimal for me.
That is very minimal.
I've come a long way.
Oh yeah, I just even when I was living with you guys, it was
every day
you're up in either doing Pilates, yoga, or getting your run in before I even have my alarm set, and then every weekend you guys were like, "All right, see you later."
Yeah, bye. We'll be back. Off to run.
Feed the dogs.
Yeah, right. We'll be back in 2 days. Please feed the dogs.
Right. Oh gosh, what a time.
Yeah.
Okay, so something I'm gonna keep doing every episode is be sharing highs and lows of the week.
Okay.
So I'll go first. I'll share both my highs and lows, and then we can have you share yours.
Okay, sounds good.
So one of my highs is I just got in my new UFOs.
UFOs? Yeah, I don't even know. I don't have a pair.
UFOs.
I've heard good things. UFOs, I think. Yeah.
Okay. So they're runner recovery sandals, and they come in slides, flip flop. I think they might have a couple of clogs maybe, but they're supposed to be really good for recovery because for me personally, I can't be walking barefoot after a training run or a long run or anything. And as we established last week in episode 0, I have the highest arches of all time. And when I went to get them custom scanned and whatever and all that, it went to the top of the scale, practically broke the scale of the high amount of arch that you can have. So, yeah, I definitely need support for that. So, I'm really excited. My new slides came in.
It's exciting.
I'll hold them up for YouTube. They're just, they got a nice little hair on them, but got some slides.
They look very comfy.
These ones are very unique looking.
Yeah, I like the, flip over.
I don't really see them, in stock in stores, in person. So I really like them, though, because they have an adjustable, top part. So, yeah, got my new slides in, and something else that's really, really super exciting is I'm going under contract for a new build house.
That is beyond exciting.
I am just... I know it's, one of those things where it's, I haven't closed yet. So, it's always that thing where, okay, I'm not going to be broadcasting it, but I don't know. I also want to share, every step along the way, I do with a lot of things in my life, on my YouTube channel especially. So, you heard it here first, folks. If you're on YouTube or on whatever podcast platform you are on, I am in the midst of getting a new build house. So, I'm really, really excited. That's, a major high of the week, is that literally just happened. It was basically going to be an inventory home, so it was already designed and everything, and, the walls were already up and everything was already done. All I had to do was be it's mine, which is fantastic. And it's crazy that I found this house. I'm really excited. So that will be coming up in the next few months, where I can close and move in. So big high. The next high is I just got Invisalign, and you could probably hear that I have a lisp. And I actually paid for it and got the impressions and everything done back in January, but it took so long.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, we're almost in July.
It's almost July.
Wow.
It originally takes 10 weeks. But then they called me at 10 weeks and were like, "Actually, your impressions were denied. You have to come and do them again." Yeah. So I had to go back in and do them again. And when that happens, they push you to the front of the line, so it doesn't take quite as long. So they were ready, I think, late last week, and so I had my appointment on Monday and got them put in, and now it's only been a couple days, and it sucks. So, I mean, it's a high and a low. Another low was that my car literally almost got towed last week.
Oh, no.
Because at my complex, I guess they actually check and make sure that your registration is up to date. And since I suck at being an adult, I forgot to renew my car registration.
Oh, no! That sounds like something I'd forget to do.
It's a running joke, because when I actually left Florida in 2020 to move back home to Oregon, my car registration was expired by I don't even know, 6 months.
Oh my gosh.
Something ridiculous. But I made it all the way across the country.
Yeah?
No stops, no tickets, no nothing. Wow. I didn't even realize it. Something came up where it made me realize it, and just like in this scenario, I got a big flashy green sticker on my window, your car is going to get towed by this date because your registration is not up to date. So I was and I completely forgot. And so
my gosh.
I literally I downloaded the DMV app so fast because I didn't even know that there was an app, but now I do, and now I have notifications on, and now
there's an app. That's good to know. I did not know that either.
There is, and you can easily. There's a little chat bot where I was renew my registration.
Yeah.
Bing bang bong, done.
Done. Did you have to pay a late fee or a fine or anything like that?
I don't think so.
That's really good.
And I didn't have to last time either when I was a year late over my registration.
At that point, they're we're just glad you're paying the money. We're not going to overcharge you.
I know. It was insane. I'm just a failure, especially with car things in particular.
Same way.
I hate car things.
I know. When the service, I think my car has that right now. It's service due soon. I let it go until the last minute.
Oh, yeah.
It's service due now.
Service due now.
Until it says now, I'm not going. Soon means not yet, so I have time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But that was a low, and although I turned it around, I just got my updated registration in today. It's fine now. Yeah, and then my last low was some of the Supreme Court decisions that came out last week, and I'm not going to comment much on them, but let's just say I'm very unhappy about them. And that was just a huge downer on the weekend. So just kind of had to comment that as my low, but moving right along, let's go with you. What's a high you had this week?
All right, so big high, something that I've been thinking about doing for the last about 2 years. Well, something I knew I was always going to do, but it's kind of one of those things that once you graduate your undergrad, you're kind of like, oh, for me personally, I was like, I know I'm going to go get my master's. It's just a matter of when.
Okay.
And I've thought about it in the last year and a half. I'm like, oh, don't want to do it. Last year, at the same time, I was like, okay, let's do it now. And then I kind of just let it go. But now I'm finally like, funny enough, I have to thank this like admissions lady for constantly calling my phone multiple times.
Right, and bugging you.
Bugging me, like to the point that I was actually, that's another high I'll get to. I was away on Monday, and she calls, and I could tell, like, she's called me so many times, I know her number.
Right.
And I'm like, you know what, I'm not doing anything. I mean, I was, but I'm like, I should pick it up. So I picked it up, and in the midst of our maybe like 20 to 30 minute phone call, she got me to apply while we were on the phone.
Oh, yeah.
For my application for grad school. So that is really exciting. Aiming to go back in January to get my MBA with Florida Gulf Coast University, and it's completely online. It's asynchronous. It'll work with my, I don't even know what to call my schedule nowadays, but hopefully it'll work. You know, I just run around madness 24/7.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And funny enough, it looks like it starts the day after the marathon.
Oh gosh.
So, you know.
Moving right along from one thing to the next.
Literally just like my life. So yeah, so that was definitely a high. Another high, I just got back like literally 2 hours ago from my first ever work trip. So that was really exciting.
Big girl things.
Big girl, corporate girl. So yeah, I work in finance for the Army, and I made a joke that I feel like I just move money around. So my boss was like, I want you to see what your money does. So I got to go to the White Sands Missile Range in El Paso. We flew into El Paso, but it's in New Mexico. And that was really exciting, just getting to see what my money does in person. So that was exciting. That's really cool. Yeah, go with some members of the team and see things in person and network and meet more people. Like, it was really exciting. And then someone told me they want to take me to the Pentagon next. And I'm like,
oh my gosh,
let's go to the Pentagon.
Amazing.
Yeah. So
doing things.
Yeah. So those are definitely my highs. I'm trying to think of many others. But now my life is like moving and grooving in lots of different directions. But I'm really excited to go to Atlanta this weekend. It's my friend's birthday, and then we're celebrating her birthday. So fun. Yeah, and then it's 4th of July, and then we're gonna go spectate at the Peachtree. So the Peachtree is a big. It's actually, my facts may be wrong here, but it's one of or the biggest 10Ks in the country. It has like 60,000 people. So it's crazy big. God. Yes, it's a big race. So I ran it last year, but last year was kind of a different year. It was my first time running. It was kind of different because of COVID. They did it on the 3rd and the 4th to split it up to have a smaller field each day. But this year, it's the first time since COVID that they're back to just having it on one day. So we're going to go spectate at that, and that'll be really exciting. Hoping to see some elite runners in action. Always love spectating.
You're a fun spectator because you have really good signs.
Oh, yeah. I got to think of a good one.
And what race was it where you stood on the side and I found you at like mile 4 or 5 or something?
Yeah.
And you had Eggos?
Yes.
I literally ran up to you so fast and I was like, this is the best Eggo I've ever had in my entire life. You know, I think it was probably like mile 8 now that I think about it.
I think it was like 7, 8.
It was a half and I was starving because like I didn't know how to fuel myself really, and I think that's something I'm going to work on for training for Dopey especially, is just like planning your fueling amount and what it is and all that stuff. And so Allison was like, yeah, I'll be at mile 8. Come find me. And it was so dark too. I almost ran right past you.
I know. It's funny because I'm standing right there and I literally missed so many people that came by too because it's so easy.
It is very easy.
Yes, because with running races, the field is so big, it's easy to miss people.
Yeah, and people are just like lined up.
Yes.
So you have to like know where they are.
Yeah, no, you have to like tell the person like exactly where you're gonna be, or they'll miss you.
And be expecting to look for them.
Yes,
Oh, I will never forget the taste of that egg. Oh my god. But yeah,
I think I'll probably be out there cheering for the half this year because I figure if I'm gonna get up early for the full, I should probably get up earlier the day before. So I think I'll go cheer for the half. I'll probably sleep in for the 5 and the 10, but I'll probably be there cheering for the half. So I can't
wait to see what kind of sign you come up with.
Yes, signs and Eggos for the half. But yeah, so that's a benefit to only doing the full. I can cheer one day.
Right? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but my lows. Oh gosh. I would say the low of all this travel is having to see the airport as many times as I'm having to see it this weekend. I mean, it's a high to get to travel, but it's a low. It's been madness. Someone on my team, their flight literally just got canceled like within hours of them supposed to fly. They had to sit on hold with someone for 4 hours. So it's definitely stressing me out because I do have a flight to Atlanta this Saturday, but I'm still debating doing the drive because luckily Delta is very flexible and they've told me at any time I can cancel and I use miles, I can get my miles back. Good. So I'm debating. So that's my low is like trying to figure my life out. I'm like, do I want to do the drive? Because if I do the drive, I can stop at Buc-ee's. So,
oh my God.
Love Buc-ee's, but yeah, so 4th of July travel is always fun, especially living here in Orlando. I mean, the traffic is just,
woo, our favorite.
We love I-4.
We love I-4.
Yeah.
Said no one ever.
Yeah. I'd say, and another low, similar low to you last weekend with the news and everything.
It was just not a good weekend.
Yeah, so.
It was not.
But yeah.
But we had dopey training and marathon training to look forward to.
Yes.
We had first official week of dopey training kickoff. And for those who are following Galloway's plan, so, I mean, not everyone is, and a lot of people are kind of just taking it loosely and adjusting it to their schedules. I think I'm going to try and stick close to it. I don't know if I'm going to do his, trial run of a full marathon before.
Yeah, see, that's the thing that I feel like I could get into a heated debate with someone about, and I won't go too deep into it, but I'm going to...
We can have you back later in a few weeks,
yes.
and we can go into it.
Okay, I mean, we can, because I'll give you my honest opinion about that, but I don't think that's necessary. That's my honest opinion. Some people feel like, they feel like mentally and for their confidence, they want to know that they're able to do the marathon prior to doing it.
Right.
But I just think it's too much on your body, and you don't need to put your body through that. And the risk for injury, I think, is just so high when you're doing that many miles. As long as you get to 18 to 20, the adrenaline's going to carry you through. I mean, those last 6 miles are still going to be hard regardless of if you've done the trial marathon or if you've only gone to 18 or 20. The adrenaline's just going to carry you through, and you're going to suffer, but you'll be fine. But I don't think the 26 is... I think you're completely fine with that.
We'll see later this year what I decided to do. But, yeah, so for this week, we basically just had the 2 45-minute runs and then 3 miles as, the long run. And obviously we're starting out small, and then we're going to build upon that. But I did my 45-minute run yesterday, and I think I got up at, 6:30, so I was on the road by 6:40.
Yeah, that's good.
Because for me, it was gonna be the same temperature whether I was out there at 5 or whether I was out there at 6:30. So I was okay, well, I'm gonna have to get that extra hour of sleep.
No, I mean the hour and a half really makes a difference. I'm one of those people that I do not like when the sun is in my face. That's a big thing for me personally. So I'm I'd rather get less sleep to get it before, because I'm it's still gonna be hot and humid, but when the sun is in my face, that's when it's I want to get it done before, or at least be finishing towards the end of when the sun is coming out, because that to me is the most, when the sun is in your face.
Perfect when it's ending and it's coming up. Here I run around here and the sun is it's at least light out, because I'm too sketched out to run when it's still dark out.
Yeah.
But when it's light out enough, but the sun isn't above the trees yet.
Right.
So it's still good. And I took my dog Cinnamon with me, and she was a trooper, but it was very humid, and we did, I think, over 3.5 miles in that 45 minutes.
That's great. Yeah, and it felt good.
It felt really good, actually, and it's almost training works.
It's a miracle.
They almost get easier. What's that about? Shocked and confused.
Yeah.
But I think that was probably her limit. It was really hot. She was not having it after. So I don't think I'm going to take her on my training runs anymore, especially if it's over 3 miles. Because while she's done many runs with me before, she'd practically done all my runs with me, I think it's just getting a little too hot and humid out for her.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you're having to adjust for her. Maybe stop for her. And, which is fine. So I say maybe limit it. Yeah.
So I think that's where we're at with week 1, is we learned that Cinnamon is not down to train for dopey.
She's I'm going to sit here and watch you. Mom.
Yeah, which I didn't plan on.
I'll be here with the water.
Yeah, I didn't plan on taking her on longer runs, but then I realized, that kind of is a longer run, especially for her. Even though she's done tons with me before, but, that's a lot for her.
Yeah. So are you doing I know that Galloway has his, recommendations of, strength training or, cross training on those other 2 days during the week,
I didn't, dive into exactly what I'm going to do for that yet, but what I did kind of soak in from other podcasts I listen to where they talk about running and training and strength training in particular. And I used to really be into working out at the gym and doing strength training and weightlifting and stuff like that, which I'm not so much anymore. Mm-hmm. I still enjoy working out, but what I did do after my 45-minute run yesterday is I took a Peloton class.
Oh, okay.
And I only have the app. I don't have the bike.
Yeah.
So I took a leg and glute 20-minute workout or something.
Yeah, I love those.
I followed that after, and that felt really, really good. And so I'm going to try and train legs on the day I run.
Okay.
So that, at least this podcast that I listened to, he kind of gave me the idea. So I'm going to train legs on days that I run, so that way you're only training your legs on those days and not adding, an addition to running.
Yes, I believe in that too. And I think strength training and cross training, in whatever form you're doing it in. It doesn't matter if it's something as simple as going out for a walk. I think it's just really important that your body is doing something else besides just pounding and running day after day. Because, having those days in between, I like that about the Galloway plan, is that he's, has it spread out. Because down. I'm one of those people, I'll never be a run streaker. I don't like back-to-back running. I like my days in between to do, cross training. Yeah. But I think that's the great thing about running, too, is that, everyone has their own form of cross training that they like to do, and that's like we have to stick to it. And I've been running for so many years, and the cross training that I've done has kind of shifted year after year. Now I'm big into Pelotons. I have my Peloton.
Oh, yeah. You have the actual bike, too.
I have a bike, yes. You can come use it anytime.
I know. I've yet to go try it.
I know.
I need to go try it.
Yes, you do.
But I know. I was looking at Peloton's website today.
I know, and their prices have gone down a lot. I'm actually kind of mad because I bought it. It's coming up on a year since I've had it. I've noticed the price. A lot better now.
They're probably going to come out with a new model, too. And I think it was also supply and demand because of COVID. Everyone was getting a Peloton.
Yep, yeah. And it was something for a while that I was like, because I had like a knockoff Peloton, and I would just take like classes, because I do body pump weightlifting with Les Mills, and they had spin classes there, so I would just take those or spin on my own. And I finally made the plunge, got the Peloton.
Which I was shocked, because Pelotons aren't cheap. I know. And Allison is like, she's a finance girl, very good with money, does not splurge on like literally anything in life.
I'm trying to work on that balance.
But yeah, so I was like, what? You spent how much on a Peloton bike?
We're thankful for a firm it's called, and they had no interest. I'll be paying for it until 2024. I think I pay like $52 a month, and then I pay like $40. They just raised their price.
Yeah, for the class.
Yeah, but it's still very affordable, because back in the day prior to COVID, I used to go to the YMCA. Yeah. I would take spin classes there. I would take body pump there. I would take Pilates there. I would sometimes go there and run on the treadmill.
And then you get to keep it after all this.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
It's an investment in your health, and your body, and your daily routine, and your mental health too. So.
Exactly. And I think having that, like the way that my schedule operates now, like I'm always gonna get my run in the morning. I'm one of those people that if the run doesn't happen in the morning, it's not happening. Yeah. But the good thing about the Peloton is I can spin at any hour of the day. Not that I'm going to spin at 10 p.m. because I'll be in bed, but I can be spinning at
But you could if you wanted.
Exactly. You have that luxury. And it's like, I think COVID changed the way that people look at,
People became homebodies.
Yeah. I was already a homebody, but like, I was like, I gotta go to the YMCA, I gotta drive there.
You gotta drive. It's a whole effort.
It is. Yeah. And they raised their prices too, and I did the math. Finance. Yeah. And I was like, I'm just going to go ahead and get the Peloton. And the app, too. The classes on there, I love their strength classes. They're great.
I didn't think I would. I was never,
I told you,
an online class person or, YouTube videos.
Yeah, me neither.
But it's different.
It's totally different. I think there's just something, I love. There's not a bad instructor there. They're all amazing. But anyways, strength training, yes. I think it's really important. No matter what you're doing, just doing something else besides running, even if it's just, like I said, going for a walk or swimming. Yeah. I was big into swimming at one time. I love swimming. That's especially here in Florida in the summer. Just go into the pool. It's like you feel like you're just, taking a dip in the pool, and then you're getting your strength training in. So
for sure. Are you following a plan for marathon training? Because I know you work with a coach.
Yes, I do work with a coach. Yes, I'm still working with a coach. So right now I'm focused on, because it's still really early for just marathoners.
Just the marathon.
Just the marathoners. I don't know if you know, but did the Galloway Just Marathon plan, did that start too? Or
I actually don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, because I don't follow that.
I'm only following the Dopey, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I don't know how early that starts, but I'm in half marathon training right now for my next half, which is in 73 days, the one in Utah I was talking about. So that's my main focus at the moment. And then I'll probably shift to marathon training, probably a couple weeks before this half. I'll be focused on the half, but my long runs will probably be a little longer, starting in mid-August to September. Usually, my coach will say 16 weeks out is the official start of marathon training. So right now, you could technically say I'm just base building for the marathon. The end goal is the marathon at the end of the day, but I have the half first. So that's what I'm focused on right now, and then I'll shift into marathon training.
Dopey in January will also be my first marathon. Yeah. Which is kind of insane, but...
you're already 5 million steps ahead of when I did Dopey in 2017. It was my first marathon as well. The longest I ran before the marathon, you want to guess?
No.
A half marathon.
Oh my god. Really?
Yeah.
I can't even believe that.
I know. It's crazy to think, did I really do that? That's how, my mindset has totally shifted. The longest I'd run, I had one weekend in November 2016, I did one half marathon on a Saturday, one half marathon on a Sunday. And let me tell you, I thought I was really prepared.
That is a lot, though.
It is a lot, but, I never went past the actual half marathon point. And that's, a big...
At a time. Yeah, it makes a difference.
No. And I just remember mile 14 of the marathon, because,
that's
each
the
mile
farthest.
was... Yeah, my feet well, looking back now too, I was running in shoes that weren't made for my feet.
Yeah.
That's a whole other, but my feet were in so much pain. Like, I couldn't even feel the bottom of my feet.
See, everyone makes that mistake.
Yes.
One time.
Yes, and never again.
And then you learn.
Yeah, you gotta get
I will not
for
do
shoes.
this again. Yeah.
No, honestly, I say, like, one of my best pieces of advice for newer runners, get your feet fitted for shoes. Like, as simple as that sounds, that will make or break you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and those shoes, they broke me. And I called my mom crying, and I'm like, no. And she goes, I bought you the jacket. You were finishing. I bought you the jacket, and I've been wearing it around. The second, I was so proud. Like, I went to the expo. I still have this jacket. I wear it from time to time. It says running around the world in 26.2 miles with Mickey on the front.
Yeah.
I had worn it, like, I got it at the expo.
Like the Run Disney jacket,
I bought it at the expo, and I started wearing it that day. And looking back now, that probably wasn't good juju. Like, definitely wouldn't do that nowadays. I was wearing the jacket
the runner
all week.
juju, yeah.
Oh, yeah, no.
You can't wear the I did it shirt
no,
until after.
No. And so she was like, you stop at every aid station and you take Tylenol. And they put a T on my hand.
Oh my god.
To mark that I had Tylenol, and I was only able to get so much more. It was miserable. And I remember, like, I was like, never again. And then sure enough, I signed up for Dopey the next year. Well, didn't end up doing Dopey the next year. I won't even get to that. I've done too many races. But anyways, but you are 10,000 steps ahead of me. You will be perfectly fine. I promise you.
Well, hopefully. Coming back to this race-related injury, your third time doing Dopey. Mm-hmm. During the marathon. So the last race of the weekend, which we haven't said it yet in this podcast episode, but the Dopey Challenge is the January marathon Run Disney event where you run a 5K, 10K, half marathon, and full marathon 4 consecutive days, one weekend, 48.6 miles. It's insane. Yeah. So, like, you got to be dopey to do it.
And spend the money.
And it's a lot of money. Yeah. It's an arm and a leg, and then it's your literal arm and your literal leg.
Oh, all of it. Every single part of it.
But, yes. Okay, so your third Dopey last year, or...
This year.
Oh, my
January.
God.
I know, but you always think it's last year, though, because it's, like, right at the beginning of the year. Yeah, last season. Yeah.
So, okay, oh my gosh. That was only in January this year.
I know. It's crazy
to think. So, let's walk through... You got injured.
Yeah.
And how do you think, like, one, that happened? How did you recover for it? And what would you say to anyone who, like, would... have to overcome an injury themselves?
Yeah, definitely. So I would say prior to that, the longest injury that I had ever dealt with was, like, I had, like, some knee issues and some shin splints. So I think the runner things, you know, little niggles. I think the longest I'd ever taken off before that was literally, like, a week for an injury.
Oh, yeah.
And so...
Which is not a lot of time.
Which isn't, like, a lot. I mean, I had been very fortunate that the little things I had prior to this were very minor. But so I'm running. Funny enough, so the marathon was my focus for the week. I won't dive too much into this because I could just go on and on about it, but last season was really, really rough for me. So prior to the marathon, things were not clicking. But I was like, you know, I think I'm just going to go for the marathon and go for it and give it a good shot and see where it takes me. So I ran the 5, the 10, the half at an easier pace, and I was planning on giving it my all. The all that I had at the time, which wasn't really all, but what I had in me at the time, I was going to give it my all for the full. So I'm going, and I feel pretty good, and then at mile 10, I'm just, like... Dragging. I'm like, Dopey I was tired. Like, even just getting to the corral that morning, I was ready to go to bed. It's just done. I mean, and that's what Dopey does to you. Like, I was sitting in the corral, and I was like, I gotta go run 26 miles? Like, it's madness.
And you get, like, corral 1 every time, and, like, you're, like, at the starting line. So you have to be there even earlier than, like, everyone else who gets there, like, at normal early times.
Yeah, well, and then I'm just extra paranoid about being there early.
Yeah,
so that's
you're also just, like, I think we were both running a half or something, and she was like, all right, bye at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
When, like, or probably even earlier than that.
Oh, I'm sure.
But, like, you don't even have to be lined up till, like, 4.
No, but I just like to be there. Like, it's so weird. And now it's funny because now I'll show up at the airport, like, right before my flight and just, like, whatever. But when it comes to running, I'm like... Yeah. But so I think it was around mile 10, I was not feeling good. I remember I texted my friend who was here. I was like, it's going to take me longer than I told you. And I started stopping for some characters. And then I'm like, you know what? It's okay. I'm still going to have a good time. I'm going to have fun with it. I'm going to stop for characters, take my time, get my money's worth.
Yeah. Get your value.
Get my value. And then all of a sudden, I fall flat on my face. I don't even know what happened. I twisted my ankle.
Oh my god.
I'm outside the Grand Floridian, which is right around mile 12. The next thing I know, I'm running, and then I'm on the floor, and I twisted my ankle, and it was like, I've twisted it was a really bad one, because I've twisted my ankle while running before, and then I just keep going because it's like a minor thing. But this one was so bad, it threw me on the floor. I ended up on the floor. I'm sitting there, laying on the floor for like a solid 10 minutes, throbbing. Like, it's throbbing. Yeah. It's in pain. I'm like, I don't even know how I'm going to get up. I'm crying. People around me are like, oh my god.
Swelling too?
Well, I mean, I didn't take it out of the shoe. I didn't even want to know. I didn't want to look at it, but
true.
Yeah,
keep it in the shoe.
Yeah, keep it in the shoe. And I'm just like, I don't even know how I'm going to get up. And then people around me are like, do you need medical? I'm like, no. And then I thought in my...
And what mile was at this point?
This is mile 12. So I still have 14 miles left. Yeah.
So... barely halfway.
Not even, barely another mile. And so I'm thinking to myself, what's going through my head is, do I drop out? Because, I mean, looking back, I probably should have dropped out, but I'm fortunate enough that it wasn't worse of an injury. Don't take my advice. But I think what was going through my head was, oh my god, it's the last day of Dopey. Like, I think if it was just the marathon, like if I was only doing the marathon, I would have been like, nope, that's it. But I think it's like,
you had to finish Dopey out the weekend.
Yeah, I would have missed out on my extra medals, which I paid for, and so that's what kind of got me up. And so I get up, and I'm literally limping.
Ran on your injury.
I'm literally limping. Like, it's going to be okay. We got this. And then I'm limping and walking and trying to run, and it's just not going well, and I start crying again. And somehow I made it through. Like, I don't even know how, but it was a rough one, but I did it. Gosh.
See, now that's, like, happened to you so recently too. I am stressed. I am
no, you'll be fine.
I don't want to get hurt and
you'll be fine. But it's such a freak accident. I mean, you think of how many people do these races and how many times you hear of things like this. I mean, I'm sure there's someone listening that this has happened to them too. But you think in your head, oh, this is never gonna happen, and but no, you'll be fine. But I think prior to that, I had such a rough season, and that really changed me. So I say that everything happens for a reason. I mean, no, I shouldn't have gotten injured. That's not lovely, but I think it really helped me.
But it made you, like, slow down and, like, look at, like, what you're doing.
Exactly. And so taking that time off and realizing it really had a huge mental shift, because it was funny because prior to Dopey, in the weeks leading up to it, I kept telling myself, okay, after Dopey, we got to change something. Something's not working. Like, I need to change my training. I need to have a whole different mental shift. And then it's like this injury, and then it's like, okay, well, that's the mental shift that I needed to take my training in the next direction I needed to go, because, so that was a rough one. But I think overcoming that, it really makes you realize, as cliche as it sounds, you can do anything you put your mind to. But in some of the darkest moments, you really realize that you can turn it around and just, take it head on. And I think I was so focused on my recovery, and I, like, even little things like going and doing the elliptical at the gym. Like, I ended up joining a gym just so I could use an elliptical, because so I joined the YMCA for literally 1 month so I could elliptical there. And, I actually like the elliptical, and I don't have one, and I don't belong to a gym anymore, but I enjoy it. That's something else.
It's a lot less on your joints.
I would say my advice giving to others who, have to overcome a similar injury or anything similar, whatever obstacle it is, just stay persistent, stay confident, stay positive. That's the most important thing, because sitting around being negative and dwelling on it, that's not going to get you anywhere. You got to just say, like, okay, this is the position I'm in. Whatever steps I need to take to make this better, if that is, sitting and resting for months or however long it is, you just do that and know that the second you can get back up, you're going to be an even stronger runner mentally. And that is such an important part of running.
Facing the problem is, like, the hardest thing, honestly, and just, like, accepting it and not dwelling on it again. Like, that's a big thing. And once you can do that and, like, look forward to how you're going to move past it, or however you're going to work around it, or, work towards a new goal or anything like that, like, that's honestly the biggest step and the hardest one. Okay, moving on to our final segment. I know we've been gabbing away, chatting along. This is probably going to be a really long episode. But you know what? That's fine. I enjoy long podcast episodes. I'll, like, go on a long walk or even on my runs sometimes.
Yeah.
All right, now, for real. Final segment. By the numbers. Speaking of the next few months, we've got the countdowns to upcoming races for the Run Disney weekends. So, as of the day that this is posted, it's just under 4 months to One Nine Weekend, which is kind of crazy.
I know, it's crazy to think about, because you always think there's, like, that big... I mean, I didn't run Springtime Princess because of my injury this year, but I always remember when it used to be Star Wars, that gap between Star Wars and wine and dine, it would always be like, oh my gosh, it's far
forever,
from now.
And it's really not.
It's really not. It always goes by like this, especially when it's summer in Florida too, and you do not want to run outside in this heat. But it's worth it. It's worth it because wine and dine will be there at the end waiting for you.
I know. Eventually, we'll get to like the number of days countdown, but right now I'm going to keep it at months because that's a little bit easier to digest.
Yes.
And makes it kind of feel a little bit closer too because it's a smaller number. But Dopey Challenge, which is January 4th, 2023, that is about 6 months away, which is, I mean, training just started, so we're about 6 months out. Oh, stressed.
All the things.
And then Princess Weekend, February 23rd, that's about 7.5 months away. And I almost didn't sign up for it because it's so close following Dopey. But I wanted to do something, so I'm only going to be doing the 10K, which I feel like people say that now, like, oh, I'm only doing 10K. I'm only doing 6.2 miles. Like, that's it.
Only one day of getting up in the middle of the night. I mean, that's the best part.
There you go. That I know. I am a supporter of the one race per weekend kind of deal. But but that's a next year thing.
That's a next season thing. Problem.
Yeah. But pace update, I think I ran at like 12-minute, 30-second mile average. So, I mean, it's actually a lot better than my 13, 14-minute miles that I was running a few months ago, which is kind of insane. But my goal is to kind of get in that 10-minute zone. I did run a 10-minute mile with my friend. We went and ran on Disney property a couple months back, and we weren't running with the dogs, and I think we only did like 2 miles or something. So it was definitely a lot easier to just push yourself on the pace, but we'll see if I can work down to it.
Yeah. Biggest thing I'd say is, when you're getting these training runs, you want to build up your aerobic base. So just focus on the feel and make sure that it's feeling, I know you laugh when I say easy, but you want to make sure it feels like it's a pace that you can theoretically do for 26 miles. So make sure, don't be too focused on the numbers. I mean, the numbers, they will come. You will get faster, but just focus on feel and make sure that it feels like it's a pace that you can handle for 26 miles.
Okay, final by the numbers. Total mileage for this week 1 will be 10 miles, which is kind of insane. I mean, that's awesome. That's kind of what I've been running, though.
That's
like
good.
A 10 mile a week.
That's great.
Situation on average. So it'll be going up, though.
Oh, yeah. You just wait.
Okay, next week's episode will be all about how week 2 of Dopey training goes. May or may not have another special guest, depending on scheduling. Not sure at this point in time when this is being posted, but we'll see. Tune in next week for that. But thank you so much, Allison, for coming on and being a guest. And we got some great content, great conversations, and some great tips, too.
Yes.
So thanks so much.
Of course. Thank you for having me. I can talk about running all day, every day.
Oh, I know you can, which is why you'll be back. Don't worry.
I can't wait.
We'll be back. But yeah, thanks so much for tuning in and get moving.